I'm going to show y'all today how I do my fabric covered journals. It's pretty simple. You probably have all this stuff at home and it's really fun. And it's going to be in the first of a series of how I show you I do my different journals. So let's go. Okay, everybody. Today I am going to show you how I create these fabric journal covers like this. I had a request for journals, so I think I'll do a series on my journals and we'll start with the fabric ones because I mean most of us have fabric, most of us have these materials. I probably started with kind of a cardstock journal, but yeah, I'm going to do a series for y'all and let's today start with how I make the fabric covered journals. Materials we're going to need is of course whichever fabric you are going to be using. I've decided to go with this one today. It's actually a fat quarter I found at Walmart. No, it isn't. Yes, I don't know. I don't want to lie. No, I don't know. I don't know. I may have gotten this one at the fabric store in a fat quarter pack. Okay. You will need cardboard. You can use whatever you have, or you can buy. I buy this by like the packs of like 100, but it's just like bookboard, cardboard, anything like that you can use. So we'll need that. That is what we're gonna affix our fabric to, and it also serves as the back of my, let's see, what I actually made. So we're not doing this size, we're doing my 4.5 size, but this is fabric. This is fabric that I actually sublimated on to make this journal. Okay. And you see, I use this as my backboard as well. Okay. So, like I just talked about the sublimation, you could do with fabric. You can do pretty much. Hold on, my glasses are swinging. You can do pretty much any kind of embellishment that you would do on fabric. Today, I thought we would do thought this would be cute. We would do some heat transfer vinyl. Okay, because that would look good on there. So I went ahead and I cut out what I wanted to put on there. So you've got but you don't even have to decide on your embellishment yet. Just gotta make your base. And then I also use, this is like one of my must-have in my craft room is Heat and Bond Ultra. I use it for so much of the process of my journal making and everything else. But I wanted to just get the pack to show y'all the Heat and Bond Ultra Hold, and I already had some open, so I'm gonna put my pack back up. Okay. So we've got our board, our fabric, our Heat and Bond Ultra. I always have my razor knife sitting here just for what I need. I also use a cutter for this step. I have a heavy duty paper cutter that when I do everything in bulk, I do actually do it in there. So, but most of us have this cutter, so we can use this for now. And we'll also use our cinch. I use the cinch for my holes. This one you see, I've got the square. I've got the square one in. This is the multi one cinch. So I actually can switch out. That sticker's stuck to everything. Can actually switch out what I want to do. So if I wanted to do the circle, I could do the circle. If I wanted to do the disc, which is not frequently, I do the disc. And there's also two or three more attachments you can get to go along with that as well. But I use the cinch. But if you don't have the cinch, you can also use regular hole punch or your crocodile, and it's just whatever you choose to make the holes with. I just use this because obviously I make a lot of journals. I've actually experimented with many ways of making the holes in my journals, even with like my cutting machines and stuff like that. But I always kind of go back to the cinch because it's just uncomplicated. Okay. I'm gonna first cut my board down to size. I'm gonna do a 4.5 by 7. Board down by 4.5 by 7.5, or your size. Sorry, cut it down by whatever size you were doing. I mean, you could do this whole sheet 8.5 by 11 if you want to. I've got like 5 different kinds of these. I've had this one. I am not lying. The Paper Studio. How long have I had this? I don't know. I don't even know. And it's still like sharp. So I always go back to it. I've got several sitting around. Okay. 4.5 by 7. So now we're going to cut our fabric down. Okay. Just want about an inch on every side to be able to lack my board. You don't have to be super precise with this. Right, then I'm going to affix this to the heat and bond. So we'll cut that down to the size of our fabric. You can see this look. I've always like cut a piece for this recently. See, I'm not being crazy technical about anything here. You can. I mean, sometimes I'll sit if I'm like watching a movie or something, and I'll just cut out like a bunch of woods. That like helps with the process when I'm having to make a bunch, maybe before like a craft show or something. So I'm actually gonna turn on my heat press. You can use an iron, that's fine, but I have a heat press sitting right here, so that's what I'm gonna use. Just go by the heat and bond instructions for fixing to fabric. I'm waiting for that to heat up so I can tell you what that is. It's it says 2 seconds. What's the heat? Medium heat, no steam. So one great thing about using fabric is that's really, which like I said, I experimented with cardboards and all kinds of different things. But I kind of landed on fabric for one of my go-tos. It's very inexpensive, okay? And you can make anything. I mean, I have like when I told you I sit and I just kind of cut some out sometimes. I have like so many fabrics over here that are ready to go, and you can like even some like, of course my little girl wanted Hello Kitty. So, you can get some, of course I have all the Harry Potter stuff, but you can get some such cute results just quickly. Okay, I just did like that was really fast. I did that like on 250 for 50 seconds. Okay. And I've got it on. I'm going to peel off my backing paper. Okay. Just gonna use this and I'm gonna cut these corners off. Kind of like a finger's width from the corner. I'm also going to cut, do you see where there's no glue on certain section of this? I'm going to cut that off as well. Nothing, like, this all gets covered up, so nothing has to be, like, super precise. Fabric cutter, too, here. Okay. So here's where you would just iron it down if you were ironing. If you were using your iron. I'm using the heat press, so I'm actually going to tape it down. I'm going to fold in my corners first. I mean, y'all know that you could use a heat transfer tape as well when using your iron. It makes things easier, like where you're not holding something with one hand and then trying to do something with the other. Just get some heat transfer tape. Not heat transfer tape, heat resistant tape. Okay. Keep going around the board. Okay, now I'm gonna affix this to the board. Heat again. And if you're using your iron, do it on this side and do it on this side. One of the reasons that journal making is my thing is because I figured out that I was able to encompass all, because I'm one of the, I don't know, I'm just all over the place sometimes. And I like so many different mediums and everything like that. Like I have fabric, I have wood making, I'm everything you could think of. If y'all have seen a video of like around my craft room, I've dabbled in like everything you could think of. And um journal making, actually I landed on journal making because I was able to use so many of those materials that I dabbled in and incorporate them into um my journal making. So it's like I loved wood. So I make wood journals. I like doing resin. So I incorporate resin into my wood journals. I love acrylic. I do acrylic journals. I do fabric journals. I um I love, I just love, like I said, resin. I love paper crafts. So I incorporate that into my journals, and it just made it where I could incorporate all these things that I, you know, love to, all the different mediums I love to dabble in. I just incorporate them into my journals. Not saying that y'all should do journals, but find that thing that incorporates all the things you really are interested in, or like um take these videos you watch. I watch a lot of laser videos because I have lasers, but I can just transfer those into my brother ScanNCut, like those ideas is what I mean, into my brother ScanNCut and use it, that something they made, into this like elaborate wood project into a paper craft, and it'll come out really super cool. Or I'll see how they there's Kim and Garrett, they have this great show where they make signs, I mean door hangers and stuff like that, and I love it, but I don't make door hangers. But those ideas that they come up with, it like evolves into stuff I can actually use in my journals. So it's really cool. When this comes out, it's pretty hot. It may have not got that hot if you know you use it with your iron. But when I pull it out, you saw it was kind of bowed. I just bend it back. Let's get it nice and flat. Sometimes if I'm busy and I'm doing something, I'll actually just throw this between something heavy, books or whatever, and like let it flatten out. I literally, y'all, I have found journal covers between stuff and been like, oh, I forgot I put that there. I was making that. That's cute. Let me make that. Anyway, but no, I've done that before. So, you can take this tape off, or you actually don't even have to if you use tape. If you didn't, then it's just going to be nice and a nice smooth fit. I used to glue them. I've tried everything. I used to glue them. Here's a good example of one that I glued. Do you see how certain fabrics that glue will come through? Now, no, this isn't a wasted project. What I'll do, so this isn't a wasted project. I'll go put, just kind of like Mod Podging, I'll put a full layer of glue on this outside, and then that way that you won't even see those um shiny spots. It could, because it'll all be shiny. So won't waste your projects. Kind of like think of a different way to pivot and fix them. But that's why I typically don't glue anymore, because it's aggravating depending on the fabric. So this has become my favorite method. Okay, so now we have our outside good. On the inside, yeah, with this one. Okay, so this is Celebration Warehouse. This is not 100% shed free, I don't think. If you want, when you buy from Celebration Warehouse, she has a ton of shed free, but there are some on there that also aren't, but they're labeled. They're all labeled. You've got to read your labels, but this is fine. And we're going to cut this one down too, as well. All right. So we got that size down. Now I'm going to put my because I don't want it around the edges of this and some of the edges so ever so slightly, I'm going to put my heat and bond on this piece. And you can kind of even like go over the edges a little bit like this, because you want to make sure that heat and bond is all the way to the edge of your material. But it's going to stick to your paper a little bit, like your butcher paper, or like you might be using a iron, so that's fine too. But if you're using an iron, don't put your iron to this glitter. Put it on the back side. Let that cool a second, then we'll peel it off. Okay. Now, if you've got any, I don't know if y'all can see that. Okay, see it right there. If you got any hanging over, cut that off for me, okay? It seems like an extra step, but having that glue go all the way to the edge just make sure you have a better seal. Okay, looks good. Now we're gonna fix this to this one. You can throw some tape on here if you need to. Um, hold it down, but just press that one now. I'd love to see y'all's projects down below. Show me what you came up with, what fabric you used. Like I said, when you use fabric, that's what I think I started using fabric, because I've made, like I said, I've got all kinds of journals back here. Like I let a lot of trial and error. I keep my here. I used to do. This is a. I mean, these are cute. I can show you how to make. This is a. This is all just paper. This is all just like scrap of paper that I used to make that one. Hot, do a little, making it flat. Let that cool down a minute. But yeah, I've had some complete fails as well. of course, along the way. I tried to do like make journals with glitter cardstock. It just does not go well. Not like the out when you try to do the outside. I don't know. Um, Now I did like double the thickness with this glitter cardstock, and that could be like a cool like little hand notebook you could do, but it had to have for it to like be smooth, I guess. I had to do two different two thicknesses of glitter cardstock and the backer board, and then that thickness kind of actually worked out. Okay. So yeah, there's our interior, exterior. Okay. For this particular size, I use these, which I use the square pegs, and I believe, yeah, believe C. Let me show y'all. On the cinch, all these little brackets here are like basically sizes set up for you. So I know that I always use C on this size because that'll get me started with my punching. So I'm going to punch my top holes. Okay. So you'll have the first run. And then what you're going to do, you're going to take your little starter guide out, put it back in the side so you don't lose her. And then with this particular size, this is really hard to see. Do you see this little thing over here on the side? You put it in, actually, it's like a little punch that you punch into your first hole you made. And basically that's holding your um material still so you can get a correct punch along the rest of the edge. Okay? So, and if you had a bigger binder, then you just keep going. But that is actually what I need for these. Then, I've got some pre-cut paper. Like this is just for like journaling, creative journaling, or whatever you want to do. I've got all kinds of different packages as far as what you can put in your journals. Like I have a gardening one. I have a the book reader one, books read kind of thing review. I have just lined. I have paper, just drawing paper. Just I really wanted to make them customizable for each person, so they can have the exterior they want, if they wanted me to customize it, and the interior pages they want. It didn't like it stinks when you find like an exterior journal, like you're just like, oh, that is adorable, but I don't need a monthly planner, you know? So I made it where I can just customize it to your needs. But I digress. So I just grabbed some scrapbook paper here that we're going to use, but we're going to put this embellishment on first. You can do this after, but it's easier once it's flat, especially since it's this. Let's see. How do y'all think we should do this? Let me look. That's cute. Okay. All right, we're gonna do this at 315 for 20 seconds in our heat press. Okay. Don't know. This vinyl is like separate from everything else. It wasn't in a package, so I don't know if it's a cool peel or a hot peel, but I'm gonna take a look real quick. All right, we're gonna cool peel that one. All right. So you get your paper that you want in your journal. I'm gonna mix this up a little bit. Do is I'm gonna put it back on my C, put my C marker in a little thing so I know where I'm going. And I will cut my paper for the interior while that's cooling. I go ahead and just do all of them on the little section, on the little, with the little thing in first. And then I go back and do the next part. Okay, so now we've got our paper. Yeah, got our paper that we want to put in. Got our little embellishment. Okay, we still need our backer. Forgot our backer. Hold on. Okay, take our other piece of our cardboard we had left out. This is going to be the 4.5 by 7.5 again. You can make it a tad smaller if you want, if you don't like seeing that overlap. I'm actually kind of going on the inside of it because I want to make sure I'm happy with that. Yup. Put our holes in this one. Put it back in the C. There's our backer. All right, so now we have all of our pieces. Okay, I have uh, showed you that they usually come in this size, but I've actually had this one that cut down um already. Let's see if it'll go in here. I don't know how many I have, how many prongs I have. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Well, that's perfect. Okay. So you just kind of you take the big hoop side, hang it on your hang it on the edge. It just helps you hold it here. Your backer goes on. A lot of people do this backwards. I don't know why it says to, but I don't like the way it folds when I do that. So backer, your paper. Kind of put these on in sections. It makes it easier. And then your top. Okay. Then you'll take it out, kind of maneuver it to the center, turn it around to this back area, and squish. Move it to where any of them that you've missed. Squish. Squish. And there we go. We got a cute little journal with probably, besides like the rings, um, probably with materials you've actually got around the house. And like I said, then you can completely customize it however you want. But there we go. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I said I'm going to do a whole series on journal making because I make a lot of different kinds. So I will, if you guys have any suggestions, requests, let me know what you want next, and I will be happy to oblige. And thank y'all for watching.